Hello everyone, Torin here, aka NS Eastern Shore Chemist, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my trip to view the 2024 solar eclipse. The first step was to figure out from where I would view this eclipse. I live fairly close to Halifax, and Halifax was expected to see 94% coverage, which sounds very impressive. However, 94% coverage is still pretty bright. It's still pretty bright even when you get to about 99% coverage. However, when you go from 99 to 100% coverage, things get quite interesting, as you're going to see in a bit. However, April is a rather cloudy month in the Maritimes, and I wasn't going to chase the path of totality, which was about 3 hours drive north of me in New Brunswick, unless there's a half-decent chance that the weather was going to be clear. So I decided to head over to Tropical Tidbits and check to see what the cloud cover looked like for that time of the eclipse. Luckily for me, the weather turned out to be clear and sunny, which was perfect news for viewing the eclipse under the best possible conditions. As a bonus, the temperature was even expected to be in the mid-teens, at least when the sun was out, which would make it a lot more pleasant than if it was close to freezing. The next step was to hop into the car and head off to New Brunswick to get into the path of totality and to choose a good location in New Brunswick from which to view the eclipse. My initial thought was to go to Bouctouche on the dune and watch it from there. However, this turned out not to be suitable because the Bouctouche dune is not dog friendly, and it was also really packed. So in the end, I decided to go to Cap-Lumiere, which is another beach on the Northumberland Strait that isn't as overrun generally, and it's more dog friendly. For those of you who aren't familiar where Cap-Lumiere is, I have shown a couple of maps here. One of them zoomed out, and here's the map zoomed in to show more precisely where I would be during the totality of the solar eclipse. So, myself, my mother, my sister, and my dog all hopped into the car and started off on the 3-hour trip to Cap-Lumiere, New Brunswick, stopping to supercharge along the way at Olac. Once we got to the beach at Cap-Lumiere, there were quite a few cars there, many of them from Nova Scotia. While there were a fair number of people at the beach right next to where the road ended, once we walked down about a kilometer from the end of the road, there were only a handful of people. So we set up there, and I put up the tripod and got ready to witness the solar eclipse. Initially, during the partial phase of the eclipse, the photos of the sun I got really weren't that interesting because the sun was just so bright that it just completely overwhelmed the camera. However, my sister, myself, and my mom were all able to see the partial phases through a welding mask. We tried taking a picture of the partial phase of the eclipse through the welding mask. However, the camera really was not able to focus on the sun properly and instead just focused on the bits of dirt left on the surface of the welding glass. However, by some fluke, which I don't completely understand, I was able to capture a picture of the partial phase of the eclipse. Somehow, the image of the sun got reflected off the glass of the cell phone camera lens and was visible. Roughly 5 minutes before the anticipated start of totality, I set up the DSLR camera on the tripod and aimed it across the ocean to watch the shadow come in. Ooh, yeah. It is getting very, 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 very dim. still working, I think. The sun is behind the camera right now. Oh yeah. Take my sunglasses off. It is getting really, really, really dim. Camera back, I guess. Who am I talking? Ooh, what the light has become, has the light become really blue to you? It's, it looks like one of those LED street lights out there now.
Yeah, it looks
Oh. It's going out very soon, I think. Okay, I'm just going to pause the video here for 1 second to show you what I mean by the blue that I was seeing in the light, because the video camera really struggled to pick this up. In fact, it didn't show up very well even on the cell phone photos. However, I increased the blue in photo editing software to make it appear like it did in reality. The reason why this happens is because the moon has almost completely blocked the sun, and blue light has the shortest wavelengths of all colors of light, so it scatters the best, and it is the last light to be lost as the eclipse nears totality. And as you might expect, as time went on, during about the 3 minutes before totality, the light became increasingly blue. And that is seen in these photos, where on every photo I turn up the blue just a tiny bit, because these photos are shown in the order that I took them. Now let's get back to the video. But it almost looks in the distance like there's a storm about to come. Yep. I think we're about to go out within less than a moment. Coming from behind us over here. Wow, looks like we have like double sunset. Holy cow. It's insane. Look at that. It's as if we have a sunset to the north and the south. For totality here. Let's do one last pan around here. Okay, let me just jump in here for one moment again. Before the eclipse, there was a cool breeze blowing off the water from the south, which is pretty common here during warmer months because it's a daytime heating breeze. These daytime heating breezes are caused by the land heating up faster than the ocean, which generates low pressure over the land and draws in the cool air from the sea. I am not 100% sure what exactly caused the mild wind off the land during the eclipse, other than to say that I've occasionally experienced a very mild wind blowing off the land right after sunset in coastal regions. So if anyone has more experience in mesoscale meteorology than me, please tell me in the comments what exactly is going on here. So let's hop right back into the video. Oh yeah. Look at this. I'm going to try in a second. This going to do it. 135. This is totality. Wow. At this point, the solar eclipse was at full totality, and it was beautiful, like nothing I'd ever seen before. The best way I can describe it is to have a dark spot over your head where the stars come out, and to have a sunset, basically, or the colors of a sunset, surrounding you on all directions. The fact that I was on a beach here and could see in all directions made it all the more spectacular. While the camera doesn't do it perfect justice, I was able to get a couple of pictures, one of them looking towards the north, down the beach, and another one looking towards the south, down the beach. I also took a picture of the sun during totality with the camera, and it was quite impressive because not just was there a total solar eclipse, the sun actually had a coronal mass ejection right around the same time, so the corona looked massive. A few comments during totality were that, yes, it was amazing, and it really wasn't quite as dark as I expected. It was more like twilight than total darkness. I'd expected that I would have to stand right next to the video camera because I would have a problem finding it during totality, but this luckily did not turn out to be the case. Where I was at, totality lasted just shy of 3 minutes, and then the sun started rising, and the whole sequence that you had seen before in the video appeared in reverse. Although there were some effects on the wildlife, for example, the cormorants stopped calling during the totality of the eclipse, Oakley really didn't seem to care. As you saw in the video, he just sat and lay down as if nothing unusual was happening whatsoever. I guess he figured that because the humans were totally fine, that he would be totally fine as well. The drive back through New Brunswick wasn't especially eventful, except for getting stuck on the 11 in a traffic jam for about an hour because there were just so many eclipse chasers that were heading back towards Nova Scotia. I again stopped at the supercharger in Oluk, and I'm glad I got there when I did because 10 minutes later, there were 2 Teslas lining up for the 8 available supercharging stalls. So, closing words for this eclipse are, if you ever get a chance to see a total solar eclipse that's in your area and the weather's clear, yes, go to it. My sister agrees, and so does my mom. It is totally worth it to go the extra mile to see the totality, as opposed to just sticking with the 95% or 97% partial phase. So, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.